When it comes to paid ads, and especially if it is a newer advertising account, at the start, you can obviously set up campaigns that we know are ultimately going to work, especially for e-com such as shopping, search, and get things going on other networks as well. But at the very start, you're pretty much just paying to acquire data. And then once you have that data, you can begin to optimize it. So if we can leverage things like Google Trends, Google Keyword Planner, which are all free tools, by the way, to actually get insights as to what the market is doing or what people are actually actively searching for on Google, then we can have a better starting point rather than starting from zero. So I think you make a good point there. Have a look or leverage the data that you have at your disposal, which is accessible freely, and then also have a look at what your competitors are doing as well. You can even go on to what's the Google library that's similar to Meta Ad Library?
Ad Transparency.
Ad Transparency, to see what your competitors are doing, what campaigns they've got live, or even previous campaigns they had live during certain periods. So again, if you're looking to get set up in, say, Q4, you can go back to Q4 of last year and see what some of your closest competitors were doing. So I think that's always a good place to start. Like you mentioned, what are your competitors are doing? What existing data do you have available? So let's assume then that you've done that. You've got your brand. You're at the point now where you're getting some proof of concept, like you're getting a few organic sales, and you think, right, now I'm ready. I really want to push ads. What are certain things that we would look out for, or maybe advise that a particular business look to have in place before they start spending money on paid ads?
Okay, so no ad running at the moment, or nothing?
No.
I think it then is the economics of the brand. Excuse me. So the economics of the brand, knowing the targets that you're going for, right? Without any targets in place, or without understanding what your break even is or where your margins are at, you're going to really struggle to validate something, because you don't know when something's working or when it isn't. You might be generating sales, but they're super unprofitable, and you might never be able to get to a profitable point because your competition dominates too much. So it's like knowing your numbers, starting there, I guess. Ensuring that your website's strong. So try to get a relatively decent conversion rate if you're on Shopify, between 1% to 2%, I would say, as a base. It really does revolve around initially the competition, but let's just say you've validated your product, you're generating a couple sales organically. I then would probably jump into Google immediately, just because if you're generating organic sales through Google or through a search network, then that's kind of validated that Google ads is going to work. If you're seeing that you're getting traction across Meta or Reels or that type of thing, then maybe a slightly more top of funnel approach would work. So maybe just boosting some posts on Meta or on TikTok. But let's just say they're generating organic sales on Google. I would then review Search Console to see, or Google Analytics, to see what keywords are actually working. Make sure that they're put within the titles of your within your product titles. Pull that to a Google Ad account, run the shopping feed. Shopping is going to be the best place just because it has the lowest CPCs, and then run that for, let's just say, 3 to 4 weeks just to see what you get back. Try your best not to touch it. Review the search terms that you're generating. Are you generating similar search terms to what have previously converted organically? If not, begin to exclude those and just try to filter your campaigns to focus on what has actually worked. So to kind of answer your question quite directly, if it's working organically on search engines, then I would do Google Shopping and Google Search, but shopping because it's cheaper. And then if you're seeing more success on social networks, then I would try to potentially boost those posts that have worked or have the most traction, or just set up some ad campaigns that are a little bit more tailored towards your product. So that's probably what I'd say initially.